This problem, how to fix things onto the Ducato roof. We just got these little T-bolts. So we've made up this little plate, which we're going to fit some bolts to, like that. And that's going to fit underneath the T. Put our washers on the top. We've got another simple little plate that we've made there, fits over the top of that. Hold it nice and snug. Then we're putting our roof rail on the top. Two washers. And then we're putting lock nuts on the top to tighten it up. Roof rail fitted. This is pulled down nice and tight with those lock-in nuts. As you can see, it keeps nice and clear from underneath the van roof. And then we've got a very small gap here all the way along, so it misses the roof of the van down to the bottom one. You can see it's also clamped on really tight. Roof clips, all you need is a 60 by 18mm, 2.5mm thick galvanized bracket. They're ever so cheap. You can pick them up from Toolstation or Builders Merchants. They're only a few pence each. The first thing I did was to mark it across here. This is the top section. That's going to be the piece that clamps down over our T-bolt. I'm just going to hacksaw that off there now. Now we've got our piece cut. That was the bracket. The next cut we need to make is quite simple. Down the holes there. Then that will give us the piece that clamps over the top to clamp that T-bolt securely. Then we have the top part, and this is the bottom part that we're going to make that fits in around the T-bolt. So we'll just give this a quick deburr in the vise, and then we'll start making the other part. Okay, I've marked off a little line that I'm going to cut down on both of these plates, so that we've only got two holes. Those are going to be enlarged to M10 on that plate. This one is going to be drilled out to M10, but it's going to be made square so that our coach bolts fit in through. I'll show you that in a minute. Right, now I've got my two pieces. I'm going to put them together. As you'll see, if you cut off the right side, the holes will match up. So I'm going to put a bolt through the center one, like so, so that when I put this in the drilling machine, when my 8mm drill goes down through, the holes will line up perfectly. Well, we've got our two pieces. The holes line up perfectly. So now what we've got to think about is those bolts that are going to go up through to join our plates together. and how we're going to stop that bolt moving once we tighten up the one on the top. So what I'm going to do is I've used these coach bolts and they've got squares on, so the next procedure is to file those holes out to a square. As you can see, I've made those squares, so we won't put that together like that. We can then put this on top and tighten them up, and those bolts won't move, so they'll be able to tighten up. The next thing we got to do, and the final bit, is to make the slot down here to take the shaft of the T-bolt. Now on my van I've measured it and it's dead on 6mm. Unfortunately I've got a 6mm file which I'm going to use to file down through there so I get the perfect size slot. Right, so that's finished doing that. I'm just going to tighten up the bottom to make a nice curve. As you can see there guys, look, it's a nice little curve that's going to fit our bolt. Now I've taken one of these because that is very similar in size to my T-bolt, so that's going to fit snugly in there, and then when the piece goes on top like so, it's going to clamp over and hold that nice and tight. So the next thing is to put it together. Put our bolts in like that. Now you'll notice that I've used stainless steel bolts and I've used plated wherever I can, and to make these even better I'm going to dip them all in hammerite paint. So if imagine that's your T-bolt, put that in there. That's going to clamp it in nice and tightly, and then you'll put your rail on the top like that. A couple of penny washers in there which will fit in if you wiggle it about a bit, and then lock nuts to keep it tight. Now the only thing I'd like to say is that we made this little design on the back of a fag packet. We haven't tested it, so if you make it and use it, then use it at your own discretion. And the same with all my procedures. Maybe they aren't quite health and safety as they should be, but so please take care out there and be as safe as you can when you're making stuff. Cheers.